Ooh, big bumblebee, right, just arrived for a wee adventure. It's beautiful, it's warm, must be, I think it's 27 on the car thermometer. I know that's not accurate, but it's lovely. The sun is lowering, so the first thing we're going to do, we're actually going to do something that I hardly ever do. Jerry does it a lot, but we're going to go for a wee swim. We've been down, had a wee tester, and the water's wet, but it's also quite warm, so wait till you see my classy swim shorts, you will be jealous. Well, as you all know, I like to be on the cutting edge of fashion and a real trendsetter. So we set off and down the embankment for the short trip down to the River Dee and to the Linn of Dee, and we found some lovely pools. It had been really dry for quite some time, and the river levels were really low and the water wasn't flowing very fast, so it was relatively safe, and we were just being careful. We didn't go too far up into the gorge, although I did go up a wee bit closer, and it was just absolutely lovely. Idyllic, as you can see. Now, one thing I would recommend if you do think about coming wild swimming here is bring some goggles with you. We brought some but forgot to bring them down from the van, and as you can see from this footage, I'm just wishing that I'd brought my goggles down with me. It's really worth it in conditions like these. Anyway, it was absolutely brilliant and just what we needed before the mountain day the following day. Oh, right. That was great fun. It was actually quite warm once you were in. The initial sort of getting towards your torso was a bit cold, but once you were down it was very pleasant, so I can see why people do that. It'd be quite addictive, so I might come back and do that again tomorrow. But I suppose word of warning, river levels are very low and these places can be dangerous, so just a note not to go in willy-nilly. And yeah, there have been people drowned down in this place and other rivers, so just be careful. I'll maybe talk a bit about cold water shock later on as well. Right, anyway, let's go back and get some food. Oh, right, back at the van, and the wind's died down and the sun's gone down, which means one thing, the midge have come out. But it's been lovely. We went for our swim, as you saw, then we went for a walk with the dogs just along the river into the sunshine, watched the sun go down. Then we've come back, had some strawberries, bananas and cream, which was lovely. So time to chill. We're hoping tomorrow to go to a bothy, and then me and Lewis are hoping to go up a hill which has got great views over to the main Cairngorms. We're in the Linn of Dee, by the way, that's where we are. Linn of Dee, not far from Braemar, and it's lovely. Even now it's about 9:30. It's really mild. So yeah, I'm going to retreat into the van now, get away from these midges, and we'll see you bright and breezy in the morning. And hopefully we can get to this bothy. I'm not sure, the dogs might not make it, you see, so we're not sure if we're going to make it that far. Anyway, I am getting devoured, so see you later. Whoa. Hey, good morning. And it's a beautiful morning, as you can probably see. We've left the van, I can hear the cuckoo, so if you can hear it. Anyway, we got up early, about 7, took the dogs for a short walk. Had a coffee, and now we're on our way. We're trying to get to a bothy, which is about 6.5, 7 kilometres in along the track here. Not sure if we're going to make it, mainly because of one of the dogs. He's not as fit as the other one, and it might get too warm for him, so we're just going to have to keep an eye on him. Although we're quite lucky, there is the whole way, there is the burn, or the river that we were swimming in, so they can easily go down and get refreshed and water whenever they want. But yeah, lovely, love the Cairngorms. What an area. So let's see if we can get to this bothy, and then after that me and Lewis will see if we can get to this fantastic viewpoint which gives you a view of some of the biggest and highest mountains in Scotland. So yeah, let's go and see if we can make it to the bothy and then the top of the mountain. Although it was still pretty early, before 10 AM in the morning, it soon became apparent that the heat, you didn't think I'd be saying that in Scotland, so the morning heat was going to be too much for the dogs. So maybe 3.5 kilometres in, my wife decided to head back, and I handed over the water and her phone so she could head back to the van. But you might have noticed I might have forgotten to hand her over one other rather important feature which was about to come back and bite me in the backside. Right, you can see I'm running. Not something I usually do, but I went back to the van with the dogs, which was fine. But guess what? I've got the keys. So I'm trying to go back. I'm nearly back at the van. It's an extra 6 kilometres and we'll get back. Finally found her. Had to go all the way back to the van. She wasn't at the van. I asked the folk in the campsite if they'd seen her at the campsite with the car park. Nobody'd seen her. Where the hell's she gone? So way down by the Linn of Dee. She sat on the rocks. So at least she's got the keys. Poor Lewis. I'll be baking in the sun. That'll be about an hour by the time I get back. You might know when to go. Right, I'm going to see if I can run again. I've not ran for years. This is going to do my legs. Not good at all. Right, I'll report back when I get to Lewis. You'll have seen my wee bits to camera on my phone. So I left all my gear here. I'll put a wee map schematic up now to show you how far we are. I reckon that's maybe 2.5 kilometres away. So that'll be 5 kilometres in total. What a nightmare. What an idiot. It's my own fault for not remembering to give her the car keys, but anyway, you alright, Lou? Yeah. Poor bugger's been waiting for about 45 minutes for me, so aye, I'm going to get the bag on and I'll report back in a wee while and we'll try and get to this bothy. We can have a seat there. Oh, right. This is the sort of conditions to be out basking. I've seen a few dead adults, but never. Right. Gonna have a wee bit of a stop here, get a bite to eat. You might be able to make out on the left here picture, that's the White Bridge. Some of you might recognise it from when I did the trip to from Aviemore to Perth in similar conditions. It just wasn't as hot as this. It must be in the mid-20s, which for Scotland is super warm. So we've had a bit of a conflab and we're going to we're going to change to plan B, which is we're not going to go to the bothy today. I'll put some footage up of the bothy. Well, not the bothy inside, but the last time I was near the bothy. It's a bit of a shame, but I would add another hour and a half to go out there, sit and have something to eat there, come back and then up the hill. So with all the changes to the plan already, with me having to go all the way back, and I'm a bit tired. My legs and my knees are a bit sore from all that jogging. So we're just going to do the hill. We're going to head up the hill here and then back round over the hill and down. So something to eat just now and we'll report back when we're hiking. So we stopped here for a quick bite to eat before we started the ascent because we knew it was going to be quite tough as there was no path and, as I mentioned before, it was really quite warm and humid. Anyway, after having something to eat, we set off up the hill. Right, you can see the Chest of Dee down there where we've come from. We've done about 100 metres of ascent and it's really warm, so we're just taking our time. Lots of breaks, lots of fluid stops. But it's quite tough going actually, although this is a relatively easy hill. It all depends on the conditions you do it in, whether that be in winter, which I've done it in quite spicy, gnarly conditions, or this is just as extreme. Warm, dry, no water, heat exhaustion, risk of sunburn, sunstroke, all that sort of stuff, so we just have to be careful when we're out. So lots of stops and just taking our time to get up here. Look at that view, isn't that wonderful? Oh, right, we're getting there. I don't know if you can hear that. That crunchiness. That's all the dry vegetation and moss and peat. It reminds me a wee bit of when it's really frosty actually, when you're breaking the top layer of frost when you're walking along this sort of boggy ground that has been dry for weeks and weeks. Anyway, just to the left of your picture, that is the summit. We're heading to Sgor Mor. It's about 800, I think it's 819 metres. And as I said before, the viewpoint is rather fine from the summit. Great view over to the rest of the Cairngorms. I'm a bit worried about thunderstorms today though, and it is getting darker to the south, but I'm hoping that if any develop we'll be off the hill by then, but let's see. Anyway, on we go. So after a bit more pathless heather bashing, we soon made it onto the ridge of the mountain, and it was so much better up here. There were some nice granite rocks to walk along, and any of the vegetation that was there, it was nice and short, and made the walking a lot easier. We've made it! Oh! This is the summit. Whee! So this here is the summit of Sgor Mor. I'm so glad, hopefully you can still hear me. And the views from here to the main Cairngorms are just spectacular over here. You can see some of the highest mountains in the UK, which I'll show you in a minute. I tell you what, super glad to have made it. It was tough going, as I've said time and time again over the years. The difference a path makes is massive, and there wasn't any paths the way we'd come up. And it was quite hot, it was very hot down there. Very glad of this strong breeze now on the summit. It's still warm, it's humid. I'm just hoping there's no thunderstorms coming. So we'll just sit here, we'll admire the views. You can see over to up the Wadi Grew. You can see, you basically see day 2 of my Aviemore to Perth hike, where I descended down from the top of the Wadi Grew and then down Linn of Dee, then up towards Benaglow. You can see all that route ahead of me here today from this mountain. I passed right underneath us on that trip. I'll put a link in the description to that video if you're interested. It was an epic, but yeah, what a day. Absolutely lovely. I'm glad that this breeze is keeping us cool, so time to chill out. And chill out we did. We just took our time, had some more food up here, and just loitered, taking in those wonderful views. And you really do get some cracking views of the Cairngorms from this perspective. We've cooled off in this lovely breeze. It's time to head back down, and we're going to head down the ridge, not the same way we came. Follow the ridge round, hopefully that'll be a bit easier. The vegetation should be a bit shorter, so let's try that and we'll report back in a wee while. Right, let's go, Luke. Right, just stopped. Oh, it's tough going this, especially after all that running that I did earlier on. We've come down the ridge, the going's a lot better, there's a sort of path on the ridge, and we've done a wee shortcut, come off it, and then we've got to go down over there and then hopefully find our way down through the heather and the forest to the to the van. And what's keeping us going is there's a bottle of iron brew in the fridge. Oh, but we're not sure if Leanne's maybe had it already. We're going to be gutted if we get down there and the bottle of iron brew has been drunk. But yeah, we're looking forward to that and possibly going back in for another wee dip in the water. This is tough going, but I tell you what, that breeze, it's just lovely. Absolutely gorgeous. So, right, we'll report back when we get to the van, or we might not. If there's no iron brew, then we might be that hacked off, then the video stops here. Let's see if the brew is still in the van. Well, it was a pretty brutal descent back down. You can see it's short heather here, but it soon progressed up to thigh deep heather on steep ground, which was energy sapping. But anyway, we eventually made it back to the van, and the first thing we did was head straight to the fridge. One each. Oh, yes. Oh, Clegs. Right, that's us back at the van, as you can see. And Leanne wasn't here, she was away with the dogs, but she was just making her way back up. And you'll have seen there was some iron brew. I quite fancied a swim, but the guys are just keen to go home, so no swim to finish off the adventure. I'll tell you what, that was tough. That was probably tougher than we did Derry Cairngorm, because the amount of ground where there was no paths and this deep, thigh deep heather, it was just horrendous. So yeah, a really tough outing, although height wise you wouldn't have thought that with a hill, but it just shows you the difference a path makes. So yeah, time to head home. Going to finish the video here. If you've made it this far, thank you for watching. Stay safe out there, and I'll see you on the next adventure. Right, time to go.